Picture this: a 22-year-old basketball phenom shatters records, captivates millions, and lands on Forbes' 30 Under 30 list. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, for Caitlin Clark, it's just another day at the office. But not everyone's cheering as Clark's star rises. Another WNBA icon is feeling the heat. A'ja Wilson's desperate attempts to stay relevant are turning heads, and not in a good way. Jealousy in the WNBA, you bet. And we're about to break it all down. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark's latest victory. And this one's not even on the basketball court. Forbes just named her to their prestigious 30 Under 30 list. But what does that really mean? Well, it's basically the business world's way of saying this person's going places, and Clark, she's the only WNBA player to make the cut this year. She's landing on a list usually reserved for seasoned veterans and sports personalities. That's Caitlin Clark for you folks. She's not just playing basketball, she's rewriting the playbook on what it means to be a young athlete in today's world. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of why Forbes couldn't ignore her. Clark's freshman season, it wasn't just good, it was earth-shattering. We're talking 62 broken records. That's not a typo. 62 times Clark looked at the record books and said, nah, I can do better. And she did. Here's where it gets really interesting. Clark didn't just impress on the court. She brought the fans and drove. Her games saw a 4 times boost in viewership compared to the league average. That's not just a win for Clark, it's a win for the entire WNBA, and the numbers, they're mind-boggling. Dr. Ryan Brewer, a sports economics expert, put it best: the numbers are so staggering they don't even seem real. He's talking about Clark's economic impact on the WNBA. We're seeing a 4 times increase in TV viewership for women's basketball games in 20,124 compared to 2023. But wait, there's more. Clark's total earnings for the year hit a cool $1 million, the highest in the WNBA, and get this, about 95% of that came from endorsements. Her Nike deal alone is worth $28 million over 8 years. That's nearly 46 times her WNBA salary. Let that sink in for a second. What does all this mean for women's basketball? It's simple. Clark isn't just playing the game, she's changing it. She's showing that women's sports can be big business. She's proving that fans will show up, tune in, and open their wallets for compelling athletes and great gameplay, not drama. Clark's Forbes recognition isn't just a personal win, it's a signal to the sports world, to sponsors, to networks. Women's basketball is here, and it can be exciting as long as played the right way. And Caitlin Clark, she's leading the charge, one record-breaking game at a time.
Elevated television ratings, it elevated attendance, and it damn sure elevated franchise value. But now, something that y'all resisted talking about, opining about.
Instead of letting their skills speak for themselves, they got to be drama because they're jealous. You'd think Clark's success would have the entire WNBA cheering, but behind the scenes, a different story is unfolding. What's really going on in those locker rooms, and why does Wilson's name keep popping up? When Caitlin Clark first stepped into the WNBA, the excitement was electric. Fans couldn't wait to see her college magic translate to the pro court. But as Clark's star kept rising, not everyone in the league was thrilled. Some veteran players started feeling the heat, and Wilson, she's been making waves of her own. Let's talk about what's really happening while Clark's been breaking records left and right. Some WNBA vets are feeling overshadowed. It's not just about the games anymore, it's about endorsements, media attention, salary offers, and yes, even speaking fees. And that's where things get interesting. Remember when news broke about Clark's virtual speaking fee? Well, it didn't take long for Wilson's camp to leak their own numbers. Suddenly reports were flying that Wilson charges $110,000 for virtual appearances, a cool $10,000 more than Clark's reported fee. Coincidence? Fans don't think so. This move didn't exactly win Wilson any popularity contests. Social media lit up with fans calling out what they saw as a desperate attempt to stay relevant. One fan tweeted, "A'ja, honey, we see right through you, ouch." But here's the thing, it's not just about money. Some veteran players are worried Clark's stealing more than just the spotlight. So how's Clark handling all this drama? Like a pro, of course. While Wilson's busy playing number games, Clark's keeping her head down and focusing on what matters, her game and her team. She's not getting caught up in the pettiness, and fans are loving her for it. In fact, Clark's graceful response is only making her more popular. She's showing that she's not just a great player, but a great teammate too, and that's something no leaked contract details can compete with. Here's the thing, Clark's not just changing how the game is played, she's reshaping the entire business of women's basketball. With every record she breaks and every fan she brings to the stands, she's proving that women's sports can be big business, and that's something that benefits everyone in the league. As Clark continues to shine, the contrast with her critics becomes even sharper. What do industry insiders and fans really think about this unfolding drama? The answers reveal more than just basketball preferences. They're shaping the future of women's sports. Let's dive into the court of public opinion. Social media has been on fire with reactions to Wilson's latest moves. Fans aren't holding back, and they're not buying what Wilson's selling. Remember, when both Wilson and Clark declined offers from Unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 basketball league, Clark's decision came with, well,
I see are the B's that are being dramatic about Caitlin Clark. That's all I see. They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court. Instead of playing the game, they got to be drama because they're jealous. Instead of letting their skills speak for themselves, they got to be drama because they're jealous.
Documented reasons her focus on self-care after a grueling year and her preference for staying off the court during the off-season. Wilson's camp, however, quickly leaked that her offer was even bigger than Clark's, despite her reasons being far more generic. One fan nailed it. Nobody asked, Asia, you could have just said no and kept it moving. But it's not just random fans throwing shade. Basketball analysts and sports journalists are weighing in, too. They're pointing out how transparent Wilson's attempts to stay in the spotlight have become. It's like watching a seasoned pro fumble a basic play. Everyone can see what's happening, and it's not pretty. Despite all the jealousy, Clark isn't just thinking about herself. She's proposed paying opponents more when she plays. It's a radical idea, but it shows she understands her star power and wants to use it to lift up the entire league. So, while Wilson might be trying to grab headlines, Clark is quietly changing the game, and fans, they're not just watching, they're cheering for a whole new era in women's basketball.
I think the thing about leadership is like how you approach every single person is going to be completely different. And I think the thing that's helped me be successful throughout my career has been the relationships that I've been able to build with people. And every single person you have to approach differently because they come from a different background, they come from a different place. Somebody can be a little more tenderhearted, and for me, I probably want to be screamed at. Like, it's just everybody's a little bit different. So I think that's what's unique about leadership and being able to understand people. But that's
the WNBA stands at a crossroads, and Caitlin Clark is holding the map. But as she charts a course for the league's future, some veteran players are digging in their heels. Is the WNBA ready for the seismic shift Clark represents, or will growing pains threaten to derail its progress? Let's talk about the generational shift happening right before our eyes. Caitlin Clark isn't just a new player, she's a whole new breed of athlete. She's bringing a fresh energy, a new style of play, and let's face it, a massive fan following that's making the old guard sit up and take notice. But here's where it gets interesting. While fans are going wild for Clark, some veteran players are feeling the heat. It's not just about jealousy, it's about a changing of the guard that's happening faster than anyone expected. These vets have put in years of hard work paving the way for women's basketball. Now they're watching a rookie come in and change the game overnight. It's not an easy pill to swallow. Picture this: you been in the league for years, fighting for recognition, better pay, more media coverage. Then suddenly this young phenom steps in and gets all that and more in her first season. It's no wonder some players are struggling to adjust now. Let's dive into what this means for the league's future. Experts are predicting that the upcoming CBA negotiations could lead to some big changes in how players are paid. Why? Because Clark's showing just how much a single player can impact the league's bottom line. League officials are starting to realize that the old ways of doing things just won't cut it anymore. They're talking about a serious overhaul of the WNBA's financial structures, and it's all because of the Clark effect.
I said Caitlin Clark, rising tide lifts all boats. As much as her presence was maximized by the WNBA, you players could have done.
Some experts are even drawing parallels to how star players in the NBA and NFL have changed their leagues. These athletes use their market CR ability to negotiate better contracts and endorsements. Now it looks like Clark might be doing the same for the WNBA, but it's not just about money. Clark's bringing eyes to the sport, getting people excited about women's basketball in a way we haven't seen before. Here's something to think about: other women's sports have had moments like this before. Moments That changed everything. The WNBA is at that point right now. They can embrace this change, ride the wave Clark's creating, or they can resist it and risk fall behind.
Want to rather. You were a bit hesitant and reluctant and resistant to it. So much so you didn't push for her to be on Team USA. So much so, you had people like Cheryl Swoops who didn't even want to mention.
So, what does all this mean for the future of the WNBA? Well, it's looking bright, but it's not going to be an easy road. There's going to be some growing pains as the league adjusts to this new reality. But one thing's for sure, Caitlin Clark is rewriting the playbook, and the WNBA will never be the same. Let's take a moment to appreciate the seismic impact Caitlin Clark is having on women's basketball. Her Forbes 30 under 30 recognition isn't just another accolade, it's a sign that the business world is finally waking up to the potential of women's sports. It elevated television ratings, it elevated attendance, and it damn sure elevated franchise value. But now something that y'all resisted talking about, opening about, acknowledging Clark isn't just changing the game on the court, she's reshaping the entire landscape of women's athletics. From skyrocketing viewership to groundbreaking endorsement deals, she's proving that women's sports can be big business. And what about Asia Wilson? Well, her attempts to grab the spotlight are looking pretty small in comparison. While Clark's busy making history, Wilson's jealousy is doing her no favors. It's a stark reminder that true greatness isn't about outdoing others, it's about elevating the entire game. Clark's journey is just beginning, but one thing's clear, the future of women's basketball has never looked brighter, and that's something worth cheering about. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments.